We're looking to install a new mini split in our living room here. I told you guys that if we install a mini split, I'd try to take you along, so here it is. We're going to do start to finish and try to get a unit installed right here on this wall. I'm going to be getting right into it. And all I've done so far is mark out on the wall where I want the bracket to hang. Here is the wall bracket for the mini split. So I'm going to put that on there and I'm going to get it leveled up. We have a unique situation here, a couple of unique situations that we're going to have to work through. One of them is our ceilings are low. I can touch them right here. Ideally, you want the mini split higher off the floor than this, but we can't get it any closer to the ceiling, so I'm just putting it up about as tight as I can while allowing enough room for it to breathe and to open and close and do everything it needs to do. So now that I have that on the center swivel, I can level it up. Let me go grab my level and we'll get this screwed in with a bunch more screws. Luckily we're working on a wood wall, so it has plenty of support here and I don't have to worry about looking for studs. So that is secure. Good. Step one done. Typically you would drill a hole here or here depending on what side you want your lines to run out to the outdoors, but I have to do things a little bit differently. Because as you can see, the outside of our house still isn't finished and we need to do a lot of work out here and all of the siding will be coming off. So if I just run the lines out the wall and down the wall, as per a typical installation, I'm going to have trouble later on when I need to pull this all off and replace it. So I've decided to do something a little unconventional. So instead of going through the wall and down the outside, we've decided to run them down the inside. So that's going to take a little bit of modification of our unit. I'm going to do that in a moment, and then we're going to run them down the wall. We're going to box them out, and it's still going to look good. Alternatively, sometimes you can go down inside of the wall. And we did consider that, but this wall is built in such a way that, first of all, there's horizontal blocking for this wood wall, so that takes up a lot of the space, but also this wall goes straight down. This house is balloon framed right on top of big fat beams. So these studs don't even have a bottom plate, they just are nailed to the beams. So if we did go down inside the wall, we wouldn't have a place to get out of the house. It would just hit a big beam and have nowhere to go. The easiest way to solve everything is having interior lines. I'm just going to do it. So here's the mini split indoor unit. And what I want to do is cut a hole in the bottom right here for the refrigerant lines and the condensation drain to run down the wall. So they do have options to send it out the sides, but not on the bottom. So I'm going to make my own. Hopefully I can drill this out without ruining it. Ooh, is that too big of a hole? I don't know. It's kind of melty plastic. And you guys can see now that the condensate drain should be able to come out here. Not bad looking. And this is the scary one because we got to unbend these copper lines. Let me just see what it looks like in here. Do one at a time. It's not bending in the right spot. They have a very strong factory bend in here. I thought I'd be able to bend this straight down. the copper wants to bend everywhere except for that spot. Alright, I think we did it. Well guys, a little bit of work, but we got it done. And you can see I wrapped this with some tape because I want to make sure it's nice and well insulated and sealed up because we had to split that foam. And now it's looking pretty good. I have to leave this open so we can connect our lines later. But here is the refrigerant lines, here is the drain line. This might have been a mistake, but we made it through. I just remembered that I will also have to run an electrical wire from the outdoor unit to the indoor unit. So let me just see where that's going to come out the back to make sure it can run down with those. Okay.
Wow, that was easy.
I've got my wire set. This is the cable that runs the unit. I'm going to go ahead and do this while it's on the floor and it's easy to access. I'll just get this fished up here. Now it's going to be hard to see, but I did get the wires all attached in there to the block, so I'll leave that out for now. Now we can hang it on the wall. Okay. I feel like that's pretty centered right there. And as you can see, we are installing a Pioneer unit. I guess I should say that. Pioneer is a good brand. They make a good product. So that's the one we chose. And this is a 12,000 BTU unit, which is probably good for this space. It would actually be oversized for this room, but since we wanted to handle multiple rooms that are connected here, I hope it's going to work okay. As you can see, our lines are coming out down the bottom. So now that I have this done, I can start extending my lines down through the floor. So I will have to drill holes through the floor. I'm drilling a hole through our oak floor. Yeah, hot. Look at, I'm ruining our baseboard trim. I know what you guys are thinking. Nobody does this. You're not supposed to have the lines inside the house. But we're gonna do it. Is that why? There you go, triple. Let's see how that goes. So we bought a 10-foot line set to go with this mini split. I think that's going to be long enough. We're just going to drop it straight outside. So I'm going to carefully unwind this copper line set and get it shoved through. Because I don't know exactly where I want the outdoor unit to be yet. We don't have that set up. And I thought in this unit, I would kind of work my way outside and see where it would make the most sense to put it. So I'm going to do this part first. Well, I got them where I want them, and now we just have to connect them up. You can see they have flared fittings. You can see they have flared fittings on these. So we'll just take the caps off and get these all tightened up. Now these right here are going to have pressure in them, but it's okay when that pressure comes out. Whoa. And Pioneer did send some of this flared fitting sealant. So this is basically a little sealant that you'll put on the inside of the flange on these. And when we tighten them together, it'll help prevent any leaks. You can buy this separately under different brands, but luckily they provide some. I got these tightened up, made sure to double wrench them so we're not twisting the lines, and that's all there is to it. Until we check for leaks, and hopefully there's no leaks, but there it is. And now I still have to run the condensation line down through the floor, and I got to get this wrapped up. I'm not going to wrap these until we pressure test the lines to make sure that there's no leaks, and then we'll get that all insulated. But now that I have this done, I can go outside, see where my lines end, and start planning for the outdoor unit. Now I don't want to stand out here in the sun too long, but you guys can see where exactly these popped out. Right here. Mini split, you guys know, is a two-part system. That's why it's called a mini split. It's basically an air conditioning unit with half of it inside, half of it outside. I've decided to raise it off the ground. I'm going to build a stand, and instead of building up a base or putting a slab on the ground, I'm just going to put it on posts. I happen to have a lot of unistrut laying around. Unistrut is this. It's commonly used in electrical work. I'm going to build a frame out of it to mount the mini split to, and then it's going to go down in the ground. I'm going to concrete it in just like a fence post, and that should be plenty strong enough to hold this up. I got my pieces cut to length. Now all I have to do is bolt them together. Okay, so this is what I came up with. It's not too bad. Basic frame. Doesn't look like too much yet, but I think it'll work. We're going to go ahead and auger 2 holes into the ground right here and get this concreted into place so that tomorrow it should be hard enough to mount the mini split on here. And so it'll be a lot shorter than this. It's going to go in the ground about 2 feet, and it's taller than it needs to be, only because I want to leave myself some extra room just in case. And if I need to, I can cut it shorter after it's all concreted in. That's not a big deal. I'll give you a sneak peek and show you. I got these brackets. These are actually for a mini split, and these brackets I'm going to mount right on here. After it's in the ground, I can get the height, and then the mini split will sit like that. Is it going to work? In theory, yes. Let's go down. Let's go all the way down. Hitting something. Oh, it's bringing me down into the depths. There it is. We need to get this in. I'm going to dry pour, so I'm just going to dump dry cement in these holes.
So I have to hold this up?
Just hold it, because it's kind of one hole's deeper than the other. I'm hitting a root here. I can't go any further. It's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think I should have cleared the dirt away from these holes?
I don't know.
Well, that wasn't so bad. A little dusty. Took 3 bags to fill both holes, and now I'm gonna go ahead and fill it with, spray it down with some water. I am using my level to get it nice and plumb in all directions. It looks pretty good. And so I think I'm safe to water it down. I just hope that I'm leaving enough room between the house and the unit to work. Okay guys, it's the next day. This dried overnight and it's stiff enough to keep going on this project. So what I did so far today is mounted these brackets. Now these are mini split brackets, bought them from Pioneer, so they're made for this unit. And they were easy to bolt to the unistrut, just using some unistrut bolts and parts to clip them onto the track. So I have them both even, level, where I want it. I believe this is where I want it. The beauty of this is I can adjust it if I need to. Now it's not actually that far off the ground, but it's high enough to do what we need to do. I just have to make sure I don't put it too high because I have to get the pipes out here. And this wire too is pretty short and I have to make sure it reaches the unit, and it is going to be cutting it close. So I hope I don't have problems with that. Let me see where these are going to line up. Let's check this wire. Wow, we are going to be cutting it close on that one. Let me try to slide the unit back. I can't believe how short this is. I bought a 10-foot kit because I figured it's right outside the wall here. And this is barely reaching. Now I was just getting ready to install the condenser unit onto my rack, but I decided I want to paint it. I just think it's going to look better if I paint it black. Now I know you're not really supposed to paint galvanized metal, but I've done it before. Well, this is looking a lot better. I think the paint is dry enough that I can put the unit on here, so I'm just going to get it bolted up off camera. It's pretty simple. And then we can finish running our refrigerant lines and power lines and get this thing wrapped up. So let's get it up here. All right, guys, I am being cooked in the sun, but we're trying to get this project done. We got it mounted. It looks good. I had to shim the front of it because I think we received a damaged unit. It looks like it's been dropped or something, and it leans forward. My stand is perfectly plumb and level. It looks really good. But when I was putting the level on the unit, it was leaning hard, and it does look a little bent up. I hope that it works. That's all I can say. I probably should stop right here and contact the company, but I'm going to move forward. Hope that nothing internal got damaged and it's just a little wonky. The case is wonky, the outside shell. So now that this is secure on the rack, looks like everything will reach. I'm gonna go ahead, get under the house and start bending the hoses and getting it all lined up. If you hear the cat meowing a lot today, it's because she's in heat again. And we're trying to keep her from getting pregnant. You know, we just had a litter of kittens that are almost 2 months old. And she's calling right now. She's calling. So, not for the kittens, for a male. So I have a lot of excess hose here. I have to get it out, but I can't do a sharp bend out because it'll put them sticking out too far. So I'm hoping I can kind of loop them out. I don't know. I'm going to loop them in here and then out, in and out. I'm gonna go with that. Just unscrewed that box. This is where the work happens. So we're gonna be taking off this side. And I'm going to be connecting it up if I can. I think I have to arch these a little better. Come on. I'm going to separate these a little bit, just so I have some play. We're going to put more of our flared fitting sealant on there. This is a leak guard. I have to tighten this one up, but I can't just do it willy-nilly. I have to hold this so we don't break anything. Now I don't have a torque wrench, so I just have to do this by feel. I think that's good. For now, we'll check it for leaks. And now this one, this is a different story. We're gonna leave that off for now. So I guess now I'll just work on the electrical. Let me see what I want to do here. I'm going to pop these two plugs out, which will both have to come out. And so now I have this special fitting made for cables like this. So I can slide it right through there. And it's basically a wire restraint made for round cable. And when I tighten it up, it'll keep it snug and waterproof. So these are actually going to go on this side, but I just want to come up this hole because it'll be closer to the house. So now I've got to run the power from the breaker box to the unit. So I'm going to be bending some conduit, getting a run of conduit going under the house over to where we need to come outside. I don't know if you guys want to come along while I bend the conduit, but we'll get it done quick. That's about good. So I'm just doing a little offset. I'm happy with that. I think I overbent it a little, but we can work with it. So there's my offset. I need to get it around some stuff. That'll be my first piece I put in. Well guys, I decided to add something to this installation. So you can see I made another hole. I'll be right back.
What is it going to be? Needs to be that big?
Yeah. Can you hold this for a sec?
It's like Scottish log toss.
Yeah, close enough. Okay.
Whoa.
So what I decided was, since I'm already running the power out here, I might as well throw an outdoor outlet out here because we're always lacking places to plug stuff in. So I put an exterior outlet box out here along with the cutoff switch for the AC, and now I'm going to wire those up. I'm using some of this flexible conduit to wire them together just to keep it easy. So I cut my flexible conduit, and then you just put the fitting on here like this. It's really easy. And then tighten that up. That's all you got to do. So I'm going to go ahead and get my knockouts knocked out, and then I'm going to put that in there. We'll get it all wrapped up quick. I'm going to go ahead and get this other fitting in here. I'm just going to put those fittings in place, and then I'll put the conduit in them. It'll be easier. I don't know how much I want to leave, but just enough. I did rewire this. You might notice my pole's a little different. I found a better way to route everything. I just wasn't liking the way I had it the first time. Sometimes I'm indecisive and I redo things. This right here is more of a job for stranded wire. I'm using solid, which is fine, but it's a lot stiffer and it doesn't flex as easy when going through these conduits, these flexible conduits. So as far as the wiring goes in here, it's really quite simple. For the cable that runs to the inside unit, as long as it lines up on both sides is fine. So there's 1, 2, 3. So as long as you have 1, 2, 3 the same on both sides, the wire order doesn't really matter that much. And then for this unit, it runs on 120 volts. So we just have a neutral, a hot wire, and a ground. So it's that easy. Live, neutral, ground. So I'm gonna get those screwed in there. We'll be done with this side. I've been making some big progress on this installation. We got all the wiring run from the panel out to the outlet, out to the disconnect box, to the unit. So we are 100% on wiring. And you can see a little outlet in there, GFCI. And with the electrical done, we are ready to finish up this installation. And this is really the part that I've been trying to work toward, because I think this is the one that you guys wanted to see the most. Some people were curious about how we hooked up the last one, because typically when you install an air conditioning unit like this, you have to pull a vacuum on the refrigerant lines and check for leaks. So basically you suck all the air out of the lines. That makes sure there's no moisture, no air in there to ruin your system. You pull that vacuum and then you let it sit and you check to see if you're losing vacuum to determine if you have any leaks in your lines. Now there is an easier way to do this, and we're going to be taking the easy route because I purchased this system right here, which is a line flushing kit. So instead of pulling a vacuum on the lines, we're just going to flush the lines. And what that's going to do is remove all the air and all the moisture from the system without any special tools. All I need is this can right here. First thing I'm going to do is take off this little service port cap, which it looks like I'm going to need a wrench. Hold on. I'm going to put this on here. So here's the setup. Can going up to the service port, and what we're going to do is we're going to open the valve, and it's going to send the gas through the hose, through the unit, and it's going to come back out this end right here, and that's how we're going to flush the system out. So we're going to run this for a little while. We're going to build up pressure like this, and then we're going to release it like I'm doing. That's going to make sure it flushes everything out. Now I'm going to get ready to connect this up. Put some sealant on there. Put some sealant on this side. We're getting to the point where we're just about ready. Okay, now that I feel like we did enough flushing, I'm going to tighten this up. I feel like that's pretty good. I can check it. And now we're going to open this up again. And we're going to start checking for leaks. Because right now we're pressurizing the lines since they're both hooked up here. I don't see any bubbles. No leaks. I'm gonna go ahead and unhook this now. I don't see any leaks. I'm letting all the pressure out of the system. That's it. We'll put this service port cap back on. And now we're going to open both of these caps. We're going to get an Allen wrench to open up the valves in here. This is what releases the refrigerant from this unit into the lines. Get the cover back on. So now we are at the point where we can turn this on and see if it works. I just wrapped this up. This is where the fittings were, and I could put some insulation around it, pipe insulation, and wrapped it really tight to keep the air out of it. Want to make sure that there's no condensation happening on the pipes inside the house. So that's looking really good. And now this isn't the final assembly. We're going to neaten this up, but let's test this out. I'm going to turn the breaker on. We'll see how this is working. Let's turn it on. And we are on. If we did everything right, it should be working totally perfect right now. Now that the functional side of the mini split is finished, I have to make it look pretty. And I'm going to do that with a line set cover. I have this marked out. I'm going to do some cuts, not much worth seeing. But when I get done, we'll go install it, and hopefully it looks good. I got it cut to length, but now I have to notch it to fit around our baseboard. So I got some scrap baseboard. I'm going to make some marks on the bottom here because this has to sit straight against the wall all the way down to the floor. So that went pretty well, cutting that out. I haven't tested it yet, but I think it's going to work fine. The only thing I'm worried about is I put some pipe insulation around this condensation line because cold water comes down the tube and it cools down the tube and it can cause condensation on the outside of it. So I wanted it to be insulated to make sure no water was going to be dripping down on the outside. But I'm afraid I made it a little too bulky. That insulation might be too thick. So I'm not sure. If it is too thick, but it might just squeeze in there. So I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try to get this in place. So we gotta split this in half. You can see we just have to get this around that pipe, the line set. I hope we can. Oh, and the bottom, look at the bottom, so thin. I was able to cut it out for that baseboard. Let's see how that works. I think I might have to give myself a little bit of room here. This should have been installed first. Okay, there we go. Hook that unit back down. Okay, now those black, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to them now, but these black things back here, they allow you to zip tie this together. Now it's going to be hard for me to show you what I did because I had to squeeze my drill in here, but I screwed this to the wall. That way it's nice and stable and not going anywhere. Got 4 screws in it, and I'm going to go ahead and try to snap the cover back on, and we'll see how it looks. Now that's getting better. It looks better than hoses on the wall, but it's still not super pretty. So one more little thing I think we can do. Now this does say it's paintable, but I'll tell you, it's not taking the paint very well. I'm kind of regretting going into it that quickly. I probably should have sanded the surface or cleaned it at the very least. I thought it would be pretty safe to just paint. So I don't know how well that paint's gonna adhere. If you ever painted on kind of a oily surface where the paint wants to separate, that's kind of what it's doing. We got a tiny bit of paint left. I'll give it time to dry. Might need a second coat. At this point, once you start brushing, you just got to go with it, and we'll see how that's going to work. Well guys, it's getting late. I'm running out of light, but I wanted to show you the finished product of our mini split install. It looks pretty good. The paint's still drying, but you can see it looks better. It's blending in pretty well. I know it's a bump out. It's a chunk in the room. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's not the worst either. If I wanted to put some furniture there, it'd have to be pushed away from the wall a little bit, but that's okay. It's just one of those things you work around in a house. That happens sometimes. Now, truthfully, I've been waiting about a week, I think, for these parts to show up like that line set cover. So we've been using this and it's been working perfectly. It's nice and comfortable in here. We have it set at 80 degrees and it's just cool and nice in the house, and we haven't had any issues with it. It runs quiet, blows cold, everything looks great. You can see how the line set cover wraps around the baseboard trim right there. That looks good. And at the top, I got it to fit pretty cleanly against the unit. And the outdoor unit, it's pretty quiet. Everything looks good. It's a little bit cluttered out here with everything, but we can work on our house without anything on the house. That's the important part. If I want to, I can remove that post later and put the boxes, the power on the house. But I probably won't. I think it's actually gonna work out good over time. I put a cap on the top of the post to keep it from rotting and to make it look a little more finished. And we have our outdoor outlet, works great. Cutoff switch. The black frame works awesome. It's nice and stable, solid, and it's gonna protect that unit from floods. So there it is, one more step done on our house and one more step into the, what century are we in?
21st?
21st century. That's,
I think.
okay guys, we're upgrading. We're not, a lot of people mistakenly seem to think we're anti-air conditioning. We're not anti, we could just live fine without it. We're neutral air conditioning.
I don't like when it's too cold. When I walk into a store and it feels like I'm walking into a refrigerator, it's like, ugh. But I'm okay if it's like comfortable.
Yeah, and it does feel awesome to come into AC when you're hot and you're sweaty. So we're not against it, but we've lived 4 years without it.
And our whole life before that.
Yeah, 4 years here and then
yeah,
100 years before that. So cool, I'm happy with this. And it'll look better once the house looks better. It's hard to make this look good when this looks like this.
Yeah.
You can see it's kind of a mess. We're gonna get to it eventually. It's been hard because of what needs to be done. But let's not worry about that. I just wanted to take you guys on the AC install. I think I have some minor regrets for going out the bottom of the unit, but I feel like it's just the way I had to do it.
I think it's totally fine.
I will tell you that those pipes did not want to unbend, and I literally thought I was going to break something. I thought I was going to kink a pipe or something because they were designed to go out the sides, not the bottom. And they just didn't want to bend that way. But we made it work, and it is working. And that's why I wanted to point out that we've been using it for like a week with no problems. And the only thing I got to tidy up is the condensation line down here. Just kind of dangles. I'm going to make that neater. But
And this will be nice for winter. Our house will be warmer.
did you guys know that for the last 4 years, we've used space heaters in the main part of our house? The bedrooms have heaters, but the living room never was heated.
Yeah.
Now we actually have heat, and it's a heat pump. We're going to see a drop in our electric bill, and that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So between our bedroom and this one, we should see some savings this winter. And I hope that they heat the house as well as they're cooling the house. This comes to a question also, the bedrooms, like our children's bedrooms, they're right off the living room. They're not going to get mini split units because they're too small. You just don't want a mini split. Even like the smallest mini split is going to be a 9,000 BTU. in my opinion, it's just too big for those little rooms.
You're not supposed to use a large unit in a smaller room.
Yeah. It can actually lead to like cold dampness.
Because it doesn't run as much, so it doesn't expel the moisture enough.
Right. So, but this unit that we installed was sized to do pretty much the whole house, and it's working. Their bedrooms are cool because they're right across from the mini split. We installed it so it blows right towards the hallway, like right towards our son's bedroom. So their rooms are cool, and it goes right down into here, the dining room back here.
When we walk into the entryway right here, it's like you can feel it right in the entryway.
The whole house is so comfortable and even. I'm really happy about that the cool air is getting distributed everywhere. So don't worry. That's the only units we need, and our whole house is covered. It's working good.
It's all done now.
A little bit of an unconventional install on the interior of the house. It's just the way I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to break the rules. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. We appreciate you coming along, and until next time, take care.
Bye.